Hey everyone, Evil Spirit here, talking to you guys about not the Nintendo Direct, as I would think you guys would like to see, but there's not really much I want to talk about other than what we're talking about today. So, yeah, instead of me sitting here just kind of going on, I will give my few opinions out. Bayonetta 3, yeah, I'm ready. I'm going to play that when also the Resident Evil Village DLC comes out, so I'm going to be playing that as well. Other than that, though, Pikmin 4, I haven't beat Pikmin 3 yet. I'm very close to the end, but I'll get to it. I promise. Maybe I'll do a playthrough of all three Pikmin games. I have all three of them. What else? The new Fire Emblem game. I love me Fire Emblem, so I'll definitely see if I can pick that one up. Breath of the Wild 2, Tears of the Kingdom. Funny name, especially because of certain circumstances in the world right now. I will not bring that up, but just saying, a little messed up. But hey, I kind of expected something like that. Probably could have held up the Direct, because could you imagine right now with what's going on? Just hearing that name. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I'm not telling it here. I will say that some other games look fun. There's a bunch of farming sims. That was kind of funny. Return to Dreamland. That looks pretty fun. Can't wait to get my hands on that. I need to also get my hands on Forgotten Land. And lastly, I think the DLC for Mario Kart will be cool. But let's get into the real meat. The real meat, Resident Evil Village, is coming to Nintendo Switch as a cloud game, along with 7 from Japan, 8, I already said Village, 2 Remake, and 3 Remake. Now, if you don't know, I've already played these games on YouTube. Just look them up on Evil Spirit Gaming. I have beaten all 4 games, and I love the hell out of 3 of them, and the third game I think is pretty good. Can't say I love them as much as 2, but I can say that I did like it. And I played Resident Evil 4, and I've been a fan of the franchise ever since. But Resident Evil, but these games I wanted to talk about in detail because just the fact that, number one, Resident Evil Village is a big game. It is definitely one of, if not the biggest games that came out last year, with 80 megabytes, which, believe it or not, is a lot. I believe it's 80 megabytes or 80 gigabytes. If you actually look on the Nintendo Switch, the data you can use can go all the way up to 32 gigabytes, I believe. The new model goes up to 64. So I can understand, it's big to run. And, of course, you also got patches, and then the DLC, which is probably going to just add way more. So I could definitely see a lot of people saying, well, yeah, the Nintendo Switch can't run those games. Here's my thing about it. They can downgrade. Doom Eternal. Monster Hunter Sunbreak, which was also made with the Resident Evil engine, or Reach for the Moon engine. Yada yada yada. I can't sit here and expect that it's gonna run well on Switch. Even with this new version, the cloud versions do not run well. I have played Control on Switch, and believe it or not, it runs horribly. I have played Resident Evil 7, or tried to play Resident Evil 7 on Switch, and it did not go well. And honestly, I wouldn't be shocked if the Nintendo Switch can't run any of those games. And, that's fine. And I think a downgrade would be necessary just because, if you downgrade it, then people can play it, and then there would be another version. For example, Dying Light, I had that on Switch, and it did not cost me, any more than the PlayStation 4 version, and it runs pretty okay. Same with from what I heard about The Witcher 3, which I own on PS4, I own Doom on Switch. I do not own Doom Eternal on Switch. I owned LA Noire on Switch. I own Dark Souls Remastered on Switch. These games can run them, and I know they can. And I understand that a lot of people are going to say, it's hard to run them. Here's my response to that. How? How can you, like, well, I know it's hard to run, but how is it hard to downgrade? I understand you're going to need, like, a team to come together, like brothers, and work on this. Like, a team. Here's my response to that. If they're not going to do that, I mean, if they did that for, like, Doom Eternal, Capcom can do that for Resident Evil Resident Evil 7, 2 Remake, 3 Remake, and Village. I'm just saying because it just doesn't make any sense. And then here's another thing about that. Resident Evil 7 did not announce that the DLC will be coming with it. So I'm a little concerned about that because, believe it or not, the DLC is quite good. And I'm just going to say this now. If you're wondering if I even played third party on Switch, I'm just going to say, for the most part, not really. Like, I'm looking at my Switch right now. I have Biohazard 7, which is Resident Evil 7, but it was only released in Japan. Bioshock 2 Remastered, I just have it. Collection of Mana, I think that was only released for the Switch. Doom, Dark Souls Remastered. Some of the older Final Fantasies. Hades. Big graphic demanding games. Doom and Dark Souls Remastered. Those are the only two I can say is graphically intense for a third-party game. But it can run fine. They can run Resident Evil 6 fine. They can run Resident Evil 5 and 4 fine. But I understand that's not what, like, was supposed to be able to run on Switch. They ran on previous consoles, and now this is new gen stuff, and 6 and 5 came out on PS3. Now, I'm just going to kind of turn it over and say, these aren't going to sell well. Because I think even Capcom knows this. Their core audience does play on Switch for Monster Hunter and the older Resident Evils. While people who love Resident Evil, they'll play it on a PlayStation 4 or 5 or Steam or Xbox Series X. They'll play it on something that can actually run it. This, I'm sorry, I don't think Village is going to do too well on Switch. Now, if they decide, okay, for people who bought Village at launch on cloud version, you immediately get a free, like, downgraded version, so you can play it anywhere. But if you haven't, you could just buy the downgraded version. We're taking down the cloud version. The servers won't be running, and you can play the game. Great. It's like, are you kidding me? That they're not going to be able to, like, they're able to make Monster Hunter run well on Switch. It doesn't make any sense. And maybe it's just because I'm a little bit into the PlayStation 4 right now, but I don't know. I mean, I'm into the Switch right now, actually, not the PS4, but still, man, come on. I'm just saying, if they can get it to work on stuff like, all they just gotta do is just downgrade it a little bit. They can totally do that, but I don't know if they ever will. If they do, I bet millions of people are going to be happy. They could finally play these 4 games on the go. But for now, I'm just going to say thank you all for watching. I will be working on a bigger video. It's actually weird because we're probably going to have 2 Resident Evil videos back to back. But I just want to make this video because I wanted to rant about it. Thank you all for listening. Evil Spirit. I'm going to go play some Resident Evil Village.